chaos.
Clearly, as a former member of parliament, I think that statement, that sacrilegious statement, was not intended for public consumption. Somehow the voice of that person failed him. It's too loud. Yeah. He didn't speak into the microphone.
He shouted.
He shouted. And so that's the problem. Now, you see, we murmur things in parliament. But when you shout too loud to the hearing of the speaker, then you are fished out and reprimanded. And members of parliament must begin to learn this, if you want, this practice of, if you disagree, murmur.
Dr. Kabiru says this is not something he would justify, but he gives us the background. It appears the atmosphere had been set, and so a group was angry.
So again, that comes back, that is gradually becoming the hallmark of this ninth parliament. Indiscipline, immaturity, impunity. You can't justify that action on the basis of parliamentary impunity.
The hallmark of this parliament.
Yes.
What didn't the 8th parliament do?
Well, the 8th parliament did one or two things, but this parliament has come into a life of its own. It is doing things that is shocking everybody.
In the 8th parliament, members of the NDC, members of the NDC actually carried placards that we cannot speak about the inscriptions against a woman,
they even took away
against a widow.
The placards started long ago.
Bloody widow.
Long ago. I can give you the history of how when placards started. Until Parliament stamped its foot down and said, no placards. Okay. So it was not the minority then that started placards. Placards started long ago in Parliament. So that's not good.
I'm not talking really about placards. I'm talking about the nature or what these placards held. So some are beginning to raise the issue that the majority today does not have the moral right to complain about what was said against Zaneto because of what they were complicit in, what they did against Lydia Alhassan Seram.
So you clearly, if you make that argument, you clearly don't understand what parliament is. You can't hold the 9th parliament accountable for the acts of the 8th parliament. You know that, Samson. It's gone.
Then you are now comparing the 9th parliament
to the 8th parliament. It's gone.
But we can still make some. Yeah. It's okay to go back.
For historical purposes.
Right.
But you can't justify an action of the 8th parliament by an action of the 9th parliament. You can't.
Kofi Bento wants to say something.
See, we can argue this, but I think that in nation building, there is something that everybody needs to understand. Yeah. Every history of every enlightened people has their dirty aspects. But when it comes to be written, you write the things that lift everybody up.
Exactly.
Our parliamentarians and our leaders must understand this very clearly. Look, there are people who today we see as heroes, someone like Winston Churchill, who almost single-handedly rallied Britain when they had given up and defeated Hitler.
Yes, in the Second World War.
Was a terrible racist.
Oh.
no, wait. Let me finish. Yeah. We all know Lord Denning. Yeah. I have a picture of him. Lord Denning did not respect any black man. He was terrible. You know Mahatma Gandhi? We had to take off his statue. He was a racist. Every great man you see today has a terrible past. Now, what I need all our parliamentarians, and I like what my friend here,
Dr.
Kabiru, said to give, the other side of the story. Please, NDCO, MPPU, whoever. I started by saying that, look, if you look through our history, all right, J.B. Dankwa, you have good and bad things to say about him. J.B. Dankwa is the doyen of Ghanaian politics, the father of them all. Don't go talking about what is wrong about him. Let us eulogize and lift them up because they are positives. Yes, whether you like it or not. Kwame Nkrumah, you can say good and bad things. He was the founder of this country. Let me finish.
That's why I said
I'm speaking to everybody. Let me finish. Jerry Rawlings is the founder of the Fourth Republic. I'm saying to all of us, all leaders, there is no proof that J.B. Dankwa was a CIA agent. All of us have given interviews, anybody who's a leader in this country, to foreigners and whatever it is, and definitely they were picking information and doing whatever it is. Let us resolve as a nation that we will never get onto any platform, local or international, and then wash our dirty linen and then insult our leaders, etc. It should be the end of it.
Right. Until they change, we are going to be playing this particular video back to them all the time. Yes,
in fact, what he has said, I said it in just one sentence. I said, no action of such a nature can be justified on the basis of...
Everybody should stop this thing.
Okay, and that's what I said. So he just elaborated on it. So to say something about somebody without being held accountable is bad. And at the time that you were saying those things, that person or his family or his relatives were not there to counter what you are saying. That's impunity. You're not being held accountable.
The chaos in the House. On the 2 occasions that the committee is investigating. We had Akando yesterday. He appeared before the committee and they asked him about it. He said he got home and his daughters or children asked him, Daddy, we saw you fanning yourself and others were fighting. That's kids. And this is the picture they are getting. What for you led to this? And how should it be resolved?
Again, probably because it's early days yet in Parliament. More than 70% of them are newcomers in Parliament. They simply do not understand that legal rational basis is the foundation for our democracy. That the parliamentary rules, and I like what Kabir is doing.
Can we stop trying to refer to the newcomers and pretend as if they were the ones who caused this?
All of those.
No.
This was leadership. It was not the newcomers.
No, we are not pretending. We are not pretending. At the center of the chaos was a newcomer. We are not pretending at all. And don't let us shift focus from what happened to leadership.
No, 1 of 4.
Well, 1 of 4, but there was a newcomer therein. It's a democracy. The standing orders say, and before you start a process of that nature, you go into conclave and determine the number of people you have to take that day. Just like he said. If there's going to be a variation, again, the practice and conventions of Parliament require that the leadership agree that they have to go to conclave to agree or disagree on that. There is nowhere in parliamentary practice or convention where you disagree violently by breaking tables. There's nowhere. It's not parliamentary. It's not. And whether it's leadership that is engaged in that, whether they are newcomers, it's not parliamentary.
So the minority was completely in error.
In error. It's contempt.
Once they disagreed, they had to walk out there quietly.
Once they disagreed, the first option is to signal the chairman. Chairman, we disagree with what you are doing.
They did.
So if the chairman said we are going to continue, they packed their...
The chairman said they were continuing.
So you pack and get your members to...
They said they would leave. They would stop it.
So you leave. And then a report will be made and presented to Parliament. And in Parliament, you raise those issues as the reasons why you left. That's parliamentary practice. No other practice admits of breaking chairs or breaking microphones. No.
What do you say to the view that some of them share that there's an unconstitutionality happening, an illegality happening? Why do you say we should leave? They must stand there and do their duty of a citizen to protect their rights.
There's no unconstitutionality at all. At all. There's no illegality at all.
There is.
No. When you go to Parliament and sit down for a meeting, a committee meeting, the first thing you must do as a leader of a committee is to satisfy yourself that you have a quorum to do business. Sometimes you can go to a meeting and sit down for 1 hour for a quorum to be formed. And the quorum doesn't say that only, NDC, MPP, or all the parties must be there. You require 5, 6, 7, 10 members of Parliament in that committee to do business. That's all. So if you are a minority, and in this Parliament, it's going to come out with its own challenges. If you are a minority and you do not, or your absence in the committee cannot affect the quorum, that is not an illegal activity.
There are strategic issues here.
That's not an illegal activity.
There is.
No, there's no strategic issue anywhere.
There are.
No. If you say that's your view, agree. But no strategic issue. Parliament works in quorum. Again, you talk of strategic issue. When you leave Parliament, the plenary, and Parliament is constituted to carry on business, they do. What is strategic about that?
Let me explain.
No, you don't need to explain. This is a parliamentary. I have been in Parliament for close to 16 years.
I am a strategist.
Yes, so you are talking from outside Parliament.
Yes.
And I'm saying that there is nothing, there's no illegality, there's no unconstitutionality. If you say strategic, problem from the minority. If I say strategic, I say, okay, for me as a Democrat, it's always good to have the view of the minority. You promote inclusiveness and give that meeting, those decisions taking some acceptability, some legitimacy. Okay, I will say that.
They said the Speaker had made pronouncements in the House that affected the continuous existence of the committee. So the committee needed to pause.
Yeah.
And if the committee, the NDC insisted they were going to continue, there was not going to be a quorum. And if the NDC was not going to listen, especially that they felt they were tired, they had done work enough, they should be allowed to go home. And if the NDC was going to continue, they were going to ensure they don't continue with an illegality.
Samson, there's no illegality. They were not going to breach the Speaker's orders.
Let me
You will say that, but that's not an illegality.
Let me come here.
No, wait. Again, 30th was a Thursday. 31st was a Friday. That Friday, Parliament was sitting. People had decided or exhibited an intention to violate the Speaker's orders. You had Friday to be in Parliament to draw Parliament's attention to the potential violation of the Speaker's orders. You couldn't wait to do that. You had to break tables. No, you can't justify this on the basis of anything.
Things here.
You can't. Look, there is a way, there's a rational basis, there's a legal basis for decision making in Parliament. In fact, John Rawls says that the key to democracy is that if you can justify a decision based on the procedure based on the conformity of the decision taken to the procedures that are laid down for the taking of that decision, then you are practicing democracy.
But see,
you can't arrogate yourself the power to stop.
They have given an indication that walkouts will not be the thing they will do in this Parliament.
Yeah.
So
What do you think?
That is an indication. That's their indication.
No.
It's a legitimate democratic tool. If they say we will not be part of it, that is them. But that should not give them the impudence to take the law into their own hands.
They say that they saw that what the majority was doing was to set the stage so that they will walk out.
Exactly. That's
and they decided they won't walk out.
That is strategy.
And walk out is not going to be a strategy
So
for
they
them.
decided that they won't walk out. And decided that they must break the tables.
That's the thing I need.
And decided that they must break the microphones.
No, that's the thing we need.
No, that doesn't justify that.
How do you justify
It doesn't justify
refusing
that.
to walk out on the basis of breaking microphones?
The first thing is that the